questions I would recommend asking upfront. The first question you're going to ask is because it can be verified. How long have you been in the business and what states are you licensed in? Great. Okay. You can go on NMLS Consumer Access and you can see all of this information. The reason I bring this up is I've seen and heard the horror stories where someone's like, they told me they were an expert. And I look it up and I'm like, yeah, they got their license 6 months ago.
Hello there.
Coming in hot. That was, I'm always excited to see what clips you pick. There's like 2,000 videos and you're like, this one where she calls out new loan officers. Let's go. Let's dig into the spice here.
What's up, Jennifer Beeston?
Hey.
Great to see you again.
Yes. Nice to see you too.
I'm not going to talk about how fabulous you are, or that you've closed 500 units in the last 14 months, or that you're the #1 VA lender in the world. I'm not doing any of that. Instead, we're just going to like jump right in. You've tasked me with this assignment of putting all these random topics in a bowl. I didn't have a bowl. I've got a little square container. We're just going to hit it. Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm terrified to see what topics you have, but I think it will make it more fun.
All right, here we go. Okay, when to reach out to existing clients to refinance?
Ooh, okay, that's actually a really interesting one. So I was talking to another producer. She's a big producer, and she had reached out to like 70 of her clients recently, and one of them had backfired. And the backfire was they basically said, oh, rates have gone down. That's great. I'm going to go call 15 credit unions. So now she's going to have an EPO. So I think that, because I'm assuming you're asking about like, so that servicers don't take your book, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, the servicers are literally like drunk dialing your clients at this time. I'm doing a lot of education about, hey, like, I know you're getting all these calls, but I am watching. I don't want you to do this too quick. I don't want you paying a bunch of points to get a lower rate. Like, let's not do that. So I do a proactive reach out, but I also tell anyone, like, show me what they're giving you, because most of it has points and fees and doesn't make sense yet.
Yeah. So you have almost 80,000 followers on YouTube. You were an influencer before influencers were influencing. And you told me once upon a time that about 90% of your business comes from your socials. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at now. Like, we get a lot of past client referrals, some real estate agents, but honestly, the people who found me through YouTube, it's a great transaction because they know who I am and they know what to expect.
All right, well, here we go. I have to tell you that if I'm starting to wince, it's because the person that wrote this down has got the worst handwriting I've ever seen.
You made me nervous at first.
Okay. No, we're good. Broker versus banker.
Ooh. Okay, well,
we got lucky on that one. Let's go, Jen Beeston. Let's go.
That's a fun one. All of us, right? Look, I don't think it should be broker versus banker. I think brokers have some good attributes. I think bankers have good attributes. I think retail lenders have good attributes. I hate the marketing where it says one is better than the other, because it depends on the situation who's going to be the best fit. So what do you think, Greg?
Are you allowed to turn it around on me? I think I think the more of us throwing our hat in the ring, the better for the consumer. As long as everybody's honest, right? And that's something you talk a lot about in your posts, because you're definitely direct to consumer. You speak to the home owner more than you speak to anyone else, and that's one thing you talk a lot about is dishonesty, and just being very careful when someone says, I've got the best rate I'm going to give you, no one's going to beat it. You're like, wait a minute, buddy. Like, yeah, that might be the case, but you're paying $50,000 in closing costs. Like, be careful, read the fine print. Right.
The amount of lying and deception that we see is terrifying. Like, it's really problematic in the industry.
Listen, This is amazing. This is how synergistic you and I are. This is a really good sign, by the way. Bad actors. So this like falls. Can you imagine? I
Oh,
pulled
come
this.
on.
I'm,
I
I,
mean,
I'm not
you're gonna have
kidding.
to shake and show. Look,
Bad actors. Like you spent quite a lot of time talking about this, and I've never heard you ream a lender. That's not
mm-mm.
really what you do. You just want consumers to be aware that what they're being told isn't always what it is. So get into that a little bit.
Look, I hear so much nonsense. It's absolutely out of control. I have people telling veterans that they work for VA. I have people telling veterans that VA sets the rate. I understand that we're in an industry that's very competitive and it can be hard to get a loan. But if you can't get a loan by telling the truth, then you need to leave the industry because ultimately there's going to be more and more Jennifer Beestons calling out the bullshit and pushing you out. How's that?
That's great.
I'm sick of the lies. Like we tell everyone, seriously, send me your loan estimate. If your lender's giving you a great deal, I will tell you. And I do. We'll be like, oh my God, they're amazing. You should work with them. But if they're not, like, we're going to tear it apart.
For the longest time, you your voice was one direction for the most part, talking to consumers, but lately you've sort of been rising up here. You're doing this. I think in the past you might have said no to something like this, and you're stepping out more. Why is that? What are you trying to do with your elevated persona and stepping on these stages? What do you hope to accomplish?
Look, I think there's a lot of people in our industry that want to make a change or an impact for good. And I think the more of there are of us that are talking about how to protect the consumer, what to consider, and helping within the industry, I think it will make the industry better overall. That's my goal.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you, and I can't wait to do more with you. All right. How do you pick a good lender? So if we have a
My God,
consumer,
these are
we
like
have
consumer questions. Okay.
I think that's the last one. We had a run of them.
We hit all the consumer questions. Look, if someone's looking at working with a lender, one of the biggest mistakes I see is they go, oh, I've heard of this company and it's loan officer by loan officer. So I think that people need to look at the loan officer reviews. I think that they should talk to a couple different loan officers on the phone, see who their personality clicks with, see who's willing to answer questions and spend time on them without them filling out an app because too much of the industry is app driven. And a lot of people should not be filling out an app. They're not ready. Like, why would you fill out an app if you're not buying a house for 2 years from now?
All right, water break.
Mm.
Strategies for educating future homeowners.
For within the industry. So, like you and I both know it's social media, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
of
we need
course.
like people to hand us cups of water. So, look, I think it's social media. I think everybody who wants to educate needs to be thinking about that. But also, there's people who are really good in person. I'm terrible in person. It's why I stay inside. And, doing lunch and learns and all that stuff, which sounds old school, is actually still incredibly effective. And I do think there is an audience for that because there are a lot of people that really hate social media, as they should.
Push button get mortgage.
Ooh.
Now I should say you work at formerly guaranteed rate, now rate. So your CEO and founder, Victor, has put a lot of time and energy and resources into speeding up the process.
Mhm.
Is that ever going to be a thing where consumers just take it? The majority of consumers, I know some go that route now, but it's certainly the minority. What do you think about this idea that eventually push button get mortgage will be a real thing, that they'll not want to talk to anybody about the process or the loan or any of the details?
It's interesting because I was actually thinking about this last night. And, what technology has done is it's trying to reduce the friction in every part of every process, right? The way to get the consumer to the finish line is zero friction. And that's the concept of push button get mortgage, which I do not believe is I mean, that's an old ad of a different, mortgage lender. I think Victor's all about making the process as streamlined as possible. But like if I'm thinking about my own brand, I'm actually creating friction. up front. I'm doing full underwrites. I'm going through like 40 minutes to an hour. They're stuck on the phone with me while we talk about payments, what they're comfortable with, what their goals are. So I think there's going to be consumers who move away from push button get mortgage. But of course, you're going to have your people that want instant gratification. And as a lender, it's like, do you want to work with those people? That's what I was thinking about last night, because I feel guilty every weekend because I'm not like, I don't want to work with people who want instant gratification because they're not going to be making rational financial decisions and I'm going to get blamed later.
Well, to close 500 loans in a 14-month period, you absolutely have to have a team. I know you have probably an incredible one.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you pitching and going over the terms on everyone, or does it just depend?
No. So in terms of like, look, I have licensed people throughout my team and they can always quote rates, everything else. But when I do a power bid pre approval, which is 95% of the time, as soon as that's done, it's one on one, me and the client, and we're spending that time. That's my value add. That's the best thing I can do is have that phone call and ask the uncomfortable questions that other lenders may not.
I think we're like at halftime here, so let me just ask a question unrelated to mortgage. Are you expecting a fire sometime soon? I see sprinklers above your head. There's like three of them. You hold the world record for sprinklers per square foot, I think.
There,
It's amazing.
I mean, there's also a lot of can lights here. So, I mean, as you know, my apartment in New York was flooded. So Chubb has lovingly put us up here in a beautiful apartment, and I will not die in a fire.
Hey, you know what? That's
Thank you,
true.
Chubb.
Knock on wood, man. All right. Signing bonuses. Oh, you like this one.
Ooh.
Signing bonuses. Let's talk about them. I can only imagine how much money you've been offered before. Jeez.
Yes, I have been offered a good amount of money to change companies, as one would expect. Look, I think signing bonuses is toxic. I think that people should be, I understand if you're a big producer, like there's going to have to be something to get you to move. But I'm having conversations with people where they're not even looking at the company they're moving to. They're just picking company based off the check. And it's like, if you want a career in mortgage, the company that you align yourself with is so critical. And if you're just going to chase the biggest check, you might as well leave the industry now because look, I price all day long and I can tell you the companies that write the biggest checks do not have the most competitive rates. How do you think they pay for those checks? I mean, you don't go crazy with your sign-on bonuses either.
No, we don't. We don't. And oftentimes it's a litmus test. So if I'm talking to someone and we're $30,000 off, and they're a $200 million producer, and they're like, "Hey, man, love your company more, love the leadership, love the
Mhm.
product suite, everything's great, but I need you to come up to what they offered, or I'm going to go there." You're like, what? What'd you just say? So oftentimes that's when you really find out about the character of the person on the other end of the phone. That's a good one. Hold on,
It's
we're
really
ripping through these.
short-sighted. Okay,
I'm
we're
going to
still
take
going. Okay.
I'm going to take a soundbite from
And
what
we
you
have
just
water.
said. No, listen, you had a good soundbite. I'm going to drop that like it's hot. All right, just you might as well leave the that whole thing. That's the soundbite I'm going to take from this so far. All right, love this one too. We're on a roll.
Okay.
Mortgage and realtor shakeout. So post NAR settlement, I'm of the opinion that the best will rise up, that many people, most people, maybe the majority of real estate agents aren't going to want to stay in the industry anymore. Not necessarily a bad thing. And I think a lot of loan officers are going to, because they can't get deals from those onesie twosies agents, are also going to exit. So I look at this moment, the post NAR moment, as an ability to sort of level up. And I think we're all going to benefit. Those that are really all in, and professionals will realize success beyond their wildest imagination. But you're my guest. I don't know why I gave you my opinion first.
I
Please
like it. Um,
take the floor.
Look, I like your opinion. I think that's a very optimistic, altruistic view, and I hope that's what happens. I really do. It's state by state because there's a lot of states where buyers agreements were already being done. Um, but the amount of just shenanigans I'm hearing, like, oh, well, we'll do this or we'll do this. And it's like, if you go on Reddit and you go to the realtor group and you go to the real estate bubble group, there's this horrible buyers versus real estate agents movement coming. So I hope the people who are like the real estate agent that just got their license so they can sell one house a year, like, yes, I hope they go. But I also am a little bit worried about just the level of drama this is going to have. Like, my biggest fear is that people who choose to be unrepresented will be blocked from seeing houses. That's my biggest fear. And I think that's something the DOJ needs to be watching, because I think there's a very good chance that real estate agents are going to say to sellers, well, you don't want anyone unrepresented in here, sign this. Which, if they're fully pre-approved, what makes them different? I don't know. It's going to be messy. I just hope consumers don't get hurt.
Are you making any changes to your business or your approach as a result of this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got a video out right now where I'm saying we won't negotiate buyer's agreements. You need to be working with a real estate agent that's going through this with you. If they can't explain it to you, they're not the right agent. It's a preview of the purchase contract. But I think there's a lot of lenders that are getting involved by saying, oh, well, if you use this real estate agent, you can get it cheaper, or this or that. And I think that as a lender, we just have to steer so clear of it, because it's a mess without rules, and it's the Wild West right now.
Yeah.
This is not a smooth rollout.
So I have my own question here. In the last 14 months, you've done just under 500 units. I mentioned that, and about almost 350 of them have been VA loans. What attracted you to veteran consumers? What was that like when you first got into it and knew that this was something you wanted to do a lot of?
Look, I love veterans. Like, they're like people attract, you attract what fits your personality. I'm direct, I don't bullshit, and I'm very honest. And, working with veterans, they get that. Like, I don't have to like sugarcoat it or be like, hey, dear baby. Like, I love it, love them, favorite. I got into VA because, and I didn't know this for the beginning of my career, there's huge pricing differences between lenders. Like, and it's disgusting. And, I got really mad because I think the concept of rich people getting discounts, but then you look at that lender and they're charging veterans a percent more than another lender, I think it's really wrong. So I started educating on it. The more I know, people don't understand VA. They think it's this hard program, and it's magical and a real benefit. So I got in there because I was pretty angry about the pricing discrepancy. And I always say I will retire when veterans are known as the most aggressive rate shoppers.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. All right. One more, last one, then we'll wrap it up.
I'm
Are you
ready.
having fun,
Let's
Jen?
go.
Are you having fun?
I feel like this is a really good test. So yes.
Can I call you Jen, or do I have to call you Jennifer? I don't know. Your close friends get to call you Jen, because I consider myself a good friend.
You're a good friend, Greg. I mean, you can call me
Jen works.
whichever. Yes,
all right,
you're good.
Jen works. Well, it's shorter. That's you. I don't make you call me Gregory, so we're even. All right, last one. Well, this is a great way to end here. Building an online brand. This is good, right? Because that you've done it. Like, you are, proof that you can build a huge business.
So what's
online.
The question is that? Is it just how to build an online brand, or should you build an online brand?
How, why you should, like your 1 minute or less elevator pitch on why someone not using part of their brand to reach consumers on social media is a miss, and it's going to continue to be a larger miss.
Look, I think that social media is an amazing way to reach a ton of people. I think if you want to be licensed in lots of states, it's amazing. But I think you also have to understand it is a second full-time job. I've been doing 3 to 4 full-length videos for the last 7 years on YouTube every single week, like clockwork. I respond to comments. At midnight. I get text messages at 2 a.m. I think it's a great way to build your business, but you have to have a mission and a passion. If you don't have that, I don't think you'll last. My mission and passion is educating so that consumers do not get ripped off by lenders and pushing out bad actors. So mission, passion, go for it. If you just want to get some leads, just buy them. You'll never last.
I want to jump into the what we don't know about Jennifer Beeston category here.
God.
You started out your professional career in wine sales.
I did.
Yeah. So I've done some deep
weekends.
No, listen, I've had a lot of time on my hands, clearly. to dig that deep. Your first
Yeah,
endeavor into mortgage was with WAMU. That
that's
goes
right.
back, yeah, that goes back a while. That's 2007. So you're coming up on 20 years in the
700
game. Yeah.
years.
Oh yeah, a bunch of years. How much longer will you do this?
I told you until veterans are known as aggressive rate shoppers, I'm here. So I'm going to need loan officers around the country educating veterans as well, because otherwise you're all going to be stuck with me. I'll be like hobbled over. Yeah, that's the mission. That's the plan, and I'm hopeful it's not going to take another 20 years, but
I'm really glad
actually,
to, have the chance to
yeah,
share you with everyone. I get the benefit of talking to you often. I feel very lucky, although I've never really recruited you. Of all those signing bonuses you've been offered, I've never offered you anything because we have a real friendship here, right? And that's a true
that's
story. That is
it's
true.
it's a true story, and you know that as long as Victor's running rate, that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah, and I'll also say that the first time I reached out to you because I was so intrigued by your social media, you said, "Look, if you're trying to recruit me, stop wasting your time." So, you smacked me around in the beginning. I think that was 2.5 years ago, and look at us now. I can't wait to
That's right.
see. I can't wait to see you elevate your voice. It's a really, really important voice. Look, the fact of the
Thank you.
matter is, we don't have many top 1% originators, let alone top originators, like top, speaking out in this industry. And you have so much to offer, and I can't wait to partner with you to bring that to the market. So this is just the beginning.
I look forward to it, Greg.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. That's one-on-one for today, Monday, the 19th of August, right? Are we already the 19th of August? Next Monday, James Kleiman will join me from Housing Wire. He is
Big one.
very a great writer and a great influencer himself. He's wonderful to follow on LinkedIn. If you want to follow Jennifer, best place to find her is definitely YouTube. Appreciate your time, and we will see you next time on One-on-One. Thanks, Jennifer.